Yes. We want to now pick it up from where we ended. Last time we were looking at the schemes of work. At least we learned how to scheme, how to plan your period, your lessons, or how to actually plan your course properly from the what's this, from the course outline, how to break down all the units throughout so that your work can really be made much more easier, as you teach. The second one, the another unit that we need to look at is basically now lesson planning. How do you plan the lessons? This is extremely important. Lesson planning is key, is fundamental, and you need it. But before we go further and look at the lesson plan itself, which is derived from the scheme of work, I want us to consider some of the key, delivery strategies, because remember in the scheme of work, there is a column where you put delivery strategies or methods. And as well as in the same lesson plan, there will be a part where you put delivery strategies. So I want to speak to those delivery strategies that are approved in the competence-based curriculum. Okay, what are some of the strategies that are actually there? The instructional methods, basically the techniques used to deliver. How do you deliver the lessons, basically? So those are some of the methods. Number one is facilitation. Now, here, a lecturer will guide and support the learning while the learners will actively participate in the task and the discussions. That's what will happen. Coming to be instructing people or reading notes for them, and then he doesn't even care what is happening, whether they're absorbing the information or what. That is not acceptable in the science of teaching and delivery or lecturing. So basically, as a lecturer, you have to guide and support the learners during that time if you're using this approach as a method. Okay. Or there is this one where you do guided discovery. All right. This is where the learners are led to discover concepts through exploration, of course, under the lecturer's guidance as well. Demonstration. This is where the lecturer will demonstrate a model. He will model a skill. For example, he designs a skill, he will model it, and then he processes that before the learners. And then the learners will start practicing that skill. Basically, you model a skill and try to create a model. It could be a verbal model. Then try to demonstrate a bit, show them how it is done, then allow them to. That's what we mean by demonstration. If it is in case of, for example, accounting, demonstrate to the students maybe how you come up with an income statement. You demonstrate. After you have demonstrated like that, then allow them to do it themselves. Let them do it. Okay. Then question and answer is also another strategy where as a lecturer, you just ask strategic questions, not just any questions. Strategic questions to probe those students to have, the ability to think, the desire to think and assess, get some understanding. So that's very important. You can also use the discussions where these learners now share ideas and opinions while you as a lecturer, you just moderate the learning process. People are sharing their ideas, their competence and everything. Then group work or cooperative learning. This is where the learners will work collaboratively in small groups to complete tasks and solve problems. You divide them in those small units. Of course, it's not to use all these methods. And again, it's not mandatory every time you have to change. You have to look at the audience that is there and the setup, basically, and everything. Then you use the most effective that you think will be most effective. You also have what you call the use of teaching and learning aids. Those you really need them, like the instructional materials, the charts, the objects and ICT tools that are there to just enhance their understanding. The other one is the project-based learning, where the learners now undertake an extended task that required maybe planning, application, and the presentation. So you give them a question that will allow them to, first of all, sit down in their group. That is a project. Then they apply what they've learned. They come up with that. Then afterwards, they come to present. And basically, that is another way of designing the lessons. Then feedback and the remedials. This is where, as a teacher now, you provide continuous feedback and corrective support to improve, the learner performance and all that. Now, these are some of the delivery strategies that are there. Of course, there is also another one, lecturing, where now you lecture people. Basically, you don't really allow them to, you just basically instructing, this is done like this. You go there, you're explaining, exhibiting, this is done like this is done like this is that is your own show. And there is a time when we use those, and only when it's appropriate. Yeah, maybe you don't have enough time that is remaining, or maybe that maybe a discussion can be had in that setup. Maybe these other methods cannot really easily work in that setup. Then you can go and pick this lecturing method where you explain slowly or in a much more organized manner to the students, and then they understand. Now, here is a lesson plan for you. I've already said that a lesson plan comes from where? From the schemes of work, isn't it? A lesson plan comes from the schemes of work. Here is a lesson plan derived from the schemes of. It follows the same format for the scheme of work, same everything. So what happens is that it's more like now in the scheme of work, remember there were those many lessons broken down into weeks. Now you go there, you pick those same subtopics one by one and digest them. That's how you lesson plan. Just one, it will be a lesson plan on it's one lesson. So you go and get one subtopic, not everything. Remember, a scheme of work has almost everything, like maybe 5 topics or maybe 3 topics are compacted together, or many lessons are there in broader themes. But here, you break now down further into smaller units. So this is where you pick a subtopic, for example, meaning and purpose of financial statements. Again, you go same format. Prescribed competences, which are analytic and thinking communication, oral communication. You go to specific competence they need to demonstrate understanding of financial state. This is one lesson now they are planning. Then again, you go on the content, you say, okay, when I go in class, I'll have them define financial statements, I'll have them define this. Then from there, I'll explain to them the purpose of this. I'll have them understand the purpose of this. I'll have them understand the importance of this. That's now the content. From the content, you will go specifically to the learning activity. What are they going to be doing themselves? No, I think in today's class, my students will brainstorm, right, on business records, or they're going to hold a group discussion. Yeah. Then what do I expect at the end of this class? This is now one lesson, just one lesson, like one lesson that you're going to deliver maybe in 1 hour. Okay. It should have understanding of the meaning, and what's this? They should have understanding of the meaning and the purpose of financial statements. Then strategies. I'll use the direct instruction with examples or guided discussion. That's what I'm going to do. And finally, okay, you go to assessments. How are you going to assess this piece if they would have understood? You're going to give maybe oral questions, ask them questions, they answer, or maybe a short written exercise. Then they write, they submit to you, and you'll be happy to know that, okay, my students have understood. Then from there, you can write the materials that you're going to use. Are you going to use, for example, if it's online, you're going to use a whiteboard to demonstrate to them, right? Or you use a chalkboard or whatever, or maybe a textbook. I'll share on the screen on the textbook, or maybe some well-prepared notes, and then I'll be scribbling to have them understand. And then you do references. You put what? References. The reference, where are you going to get that lesson? Or I'll get it from maybe the textbook. I'll get it plus from the syllabus. So that's how you design one lesson. That is only one lesson. And this is a lesson you're going to deliver maybe on Monday. you have it today planned and everything. So you already know, okay, on Monday, this is how I'll plan my lesson. This is how it will go. But this kind of planning I'm showing you, it's not really meant to be every day. You can plan in advance. You know, there is a point where you can plan in advance. You can even plan the whole week in advance or plan the whole 2 weeks in advance, where you just go and edit. It can be the same format, by the way. Don't think you have to write different things. Just leave it in Word. When this lesson is done, you go, you edit, you produce another one, and then you go, you deliver like that. Well-planned lesson can be easy for the students to understand. Let me give you another one. Let me show you another one. Lesson 2. This is the second lesson again. This is your topic again. So income statement, to be very specific. The topic is financial statement, but the subtopic is what? Income statement. Then what prescribe the competences? We want problem solving or financial literacy. Specific competence, they should be able to prepare a simple income statement. This is your class that you've planned. This is a specific competence that you want your students to get. What content is there? Trading account, profit and loss statement is what we'll. What else next? We are going to look at the learning activities. What am I going to be doing? So as a teacher, we will be demonstrating how to come up with this, or maybe you will use a pair work on exercises, or maybe there will be some learner presentation. The expected standard is that the students should be able to prepare a correct, simple income statement. They have to demonstrate that. Then the strategy that you are going to use as a teacher, you will demonstrate. If you're going to show them how to do it, that's demonstration. So you say demonstration, or if you are going to use maybe hands-on practice, whatever, if that's it, you are going to use computers and all that. Then the assessments, how are you going to assess if they know? Definitely, maybe you're going to use a practical exercise to give them a simple question, then they do that on their own. Okay, you are going to assess them after that, so that next time you come to class, you can look into that, check if your student really understood. Then you can go on to materials that you're going to use. You use maybe worksheets, or you use maybe calculator, the chalkboard, whiteboard, and all those things. And then the references, what specific references? Is it a financial textbook? Is it a syllabus? What really where did you get that information? That's a question. Where did you get the information you're giving the students? Now, when it's like this, it should be in a table form. It should come out something like this. This is how it comes out of that one from accounting. So it should come like this table, in a table form, well tabulated. And so therefore, a lesson that has been planned very well should have even segments. It should have an introduction. An introduction should not take 1 year, or more than 10 minutes. You're just introducing. An introduction can range between 5 to 10 minutes. It can just be short, depending on the time that you have. If your lesson is just 1 hour, you can maybe schedule what's this introduction to take place maybe just between 5 to say 10 minutes, like that. A well-organized introduction that tries to first link the students to the previous work, show how this topic maybe is related to the previous one, and then show them what you are going to cover in today's topic. That's your introduction. Maybe this can be 10 minutes, or maybe, let me say, maybe 5 minutes. Then from there, you have the main now lesson evolution, right? Where you're going to be delivering. Maybe this will take place, let's say, for 40 minutes. For 40 minutes. Under that same 40 minutes, you can even further break down on the first 10 minutes. I'll talk about maybe these purposes. Then the next 10 minutes, I'll talk about financial what's this? The uses of financial statement. Or maybe lastly, I'll talk about the other 10 minutes, I'll talk about maybe benefits. Well organized lesson. Then finally, it should have conclusion. it should have a there should be a conclusion. How do you conclude? You have to conclude your lesson maybe in 5 to 10 minutes again, wind up. Then it should have evaluation. There should be assessment as well as evaluation. At the end, evaluate. How have I really delivered this lesson? How has it really been done? Has it been done very well? Yeah, where did I really miss it? You know, all that. So this is the idea behind lesson planning. And that is how it is done. So in our next unit, we'll be looking at now the techniques of effective delivery. So as for now, we can end here. So a lesson plan is very, very important. Yeah, it will help you to be a very organized lecturer, you know, tutor. You do something that makes sense. Even when you're delivering, you know, you are more confident because you're planned for that, you know. This kind of planning I've said you can plan even maybe 1 week in advance or 2 weeks in advance. And again, a lesson plan is easy to make because you directly extract it from where? From the scheme of work. And of which the scheme of work, you sit down way before and prepare maybe for the first 4 topics in advance. You're already prepared for them. So you just go there, you pick one unit and put it into a lesson plan and then deliver the lesson. And so this is what we are talking about. By the end of the time you are done teaching the whole course, you have the scheme that covers the whole course. You will also have the lesson plans that covers the whole course. So next time, then it becomes easy. You just go through the same things and like that. That is now a proper lecturing, not where someone just comes in class and say, oh, guys, let's open the slides, projecting and starts reading and reading for the students, and then he goes. That is not lecturing. I don't know what it is called. It doesn't exist yet. Delivery is scientific as for today.